Rethinking Dyslexia, Why Phonological Awareness Isn't the Key. For years, experts have claimed that dyslexia stems from weak phonological awareness, that children must master rhyming, clapping syllables, and recognizing onset and rhymes before they can learn to read. Without these skills, we've been told children will struggle to read, and that's why dyslexia appears early and why early diagnosis is considered critical. In fact, many dyslexia screeners include these components. But what if this widely repeated idea is simply wrong? What if phonological awareness, which includes rhyming, clapping, and sound games, actually has very little to do with learning to read or write in a phonetic language like English? Hello, and welcome to another episode on KZ Academy. I'm Misty, a credentialed teacher with over 20 years of experience in second language acquisition, mathematics, and elementary education. Through teaching, coaching, and tutoring, I've dedicated my career to helping students, parents, and educators understand the science behind how we learn. This episode is inspired by posts I have been making since 2018 in online forums, which helped lay the groundwork for what is now known as the science of reading. Many of the key ideas that Emily Hanford later presented as her research were already being discussed and shared by me in these forums before she brought them to a wider audience. It's gratifying to see that the techniques I've been refining for over 20 years are now being embraced across America. Her voice played a crucial role in raising awareness and bringing these ideas into the mainstream. Today, we're addressing a widespread misunderstanding, one that affects how reading is taught and how dyslexia is diagnosed. For years, people have been told that phonological awareness is the foundation of reading, that children must first be able to clap syllables, recognize rhymes, and play sound games before they can learn to read. And if they can't, they are often labeled as at risk for dyslexia. It may sound scientific and logical, but it is not true. This misconception has wasted countless hours of instructional time and in many cases led to people being misdiagnosed as dyslexic when they are simply missing the foundational skills needed for reading and writing in English. The confusion between phonological and phonemic awareness. Phonological awareness and phonemic awareness are not the same thing. Phonological awareness is a broad term. It includes skills like rhyming, clapping syllables, and recognizing onsets and rhymes. These are oral language activities that can be performed without ever seeing a single letter. While they may be fun and engaging, none of these skills are essential for building foundational reading and writing skills in English. Phonemic awareness, on the other hand, is much more specific. It is the understanding that words are made of individual sounds, or phonemes, and that each of these sounds can be linked to graphemes, the letter or letter combinations that represent sounds in a language. This is the beginning of understanding how a phonetic language like English works. Phonemic awareness is the first step. It is the bridge between speech and print. That's the real starting point for learning to read. The real steps for learning to read. Since 2018, I've been sharing a clear 4-step model of how reading develops, the same process that later appeared in the Science of Reading movement as researched by Emily Hanford. Reading as a built skill develops through 4 stages. 1. Basic phonemic awareness, understanding that words are made of individual sounds. 2. Phonics, learning to connect sounds to letters, or in the case of reading, learning to connect the letters to those sounds. 3. Blending and decoding, combining the sounds represented by graphemes to read words. 4. Fluency, reading with speed and accuracy. That's the path. That's how a reader is built. Nowhere in these steps do you find clapping syllables or matching rhymes. Those skills may develop, but they are not part of the foundation needed to learn to read or write for that matter. It might seem logical that the next steps after basic phonemic awareness would be advanced phonemic awareness or phonological awareness, but that is a misunderstanding. The next step is phonics, connecting sounds to letters and learning to blend those letter sounds to read words. That is the skill that actually builds reading ability. Is it dyslexia? Here's where the confusion becomes a real problem. Many schools now use phonological awareness as a screening tool for dyslexia. So, when a 5-year-old can't rhyme or can't tell if two words rhyme, like cat and hat, or can't clap out the syllables in alligator, adults panic and say, this child might have dyslexia. But let's think about that logically. Dyslexia is not a difficulty with rhyming. It's not an inability to play oral sound games. Dyslexia is a difficulty connecting letters to sounds and later blending those sounds to read words. This is what makes reading possible in phonetic languages like English. By focusing on phonological awareness as a marker for dyslexia, we risk misdiagnosing children who haven't even been taught the skills they actually need to read and write. These people are not dyslexic. They simply never had the chance to build foundational phonics connections in English. Learning to read. Reading is not an auditory guessing game. It is a complex skill that involves recognizing letters and connecting them to sounds. This process begins at birth, as infants naturally acquire the sounds of their language. By around age 2, in phonetic languages like English, children start learning that these sounds correspond to letters or combinations of letters that represent them, forming words. Reading is built by blending these letters and sounds to decode words. No amount of clapping, rhyming, or chanting will magically create this skill. Reading requires seeing letters, linking them to their sounds, and blending them into words. A person's ability or inability, for that matter, to play with sounds does not determine their ability to read or write in English. How this affects instruction. Many well-intentioned teachers delay phonics instruction until a child shows strong phonological awareness. But children are ready to start connecting letters and sounds much earlier than most people realize. As I recommend in my teacher manual, children can begin working on this process from around age 2. Early instruction in letter-sound correspondence, blending, and consistent practice give children the foundational skills they need to read and write proficiently in English. Overemphasizing phonological awareness or advanced phonemic awareness delays the development of actual reading skills. Meanwhile, children get frustrated, and parents are told their child might be at risk of having dyslexia, when the real issue is simply a lack of structured phonics instruction. Setting the record straight. The Science of Reading movement has done an incredible job highlighting the organization of phonics for reading. However, confusion persists. Phonological awareness is sound play. Phonemic awareness is understanding that words are made of sounds. By understanding the skills people actually need to read and write, we can finally diagnose dyslexia accurately. We should stop labeling 5-year-olds dyslexic simply because they can't perform unnecessary tasks like clapping syllables or rhyming. True reading difficulties emerge when a child struggles to connect letters to sounds after receiving appropriate instruction for an extended period of time. Practical tips and resources. In upcoming episodes, we'll explore practical strategies for effective reading instruction. But if you're eager to get started now, check out my Learn to Read Teacher's Manuals Volumes 1 and 2 and the Student Learn to Read and Write Journal. These resources offer a clear, systematic path for teaching letter recognition, phonics, and blending. It's like having your very own step-by-step guide for reading instruction. Now, back to the conclusion. So, the next time someone says phonological awareness is the foundation of reading, remember, it isn't. Reading begins with basic phonemic awareness and understanding that words are made of sounds. The next step is phonics, connecting the sounds to letters. Then comes blending or decoding, which allows people to read words, followed by fluency, giving them the stamina to read sentences and beyond. Rhyming and clapping may be fun, but they are not prerequisites to learning to read or write in English. Dyslexia should be defined by difficulty connecting print to sound or sound to print, not by a person's phonological awareness skills, which do not play a role in building foundational reading or writing skills in English. Reading is connecting letters to sounds. Writing is connecting sounds to letters. When we teach each skill clearly and systematically, every person has a chance to succeed. Thanks for listening. For now, remember, the next step after basic phonemic awareness is not advanced phonemic awareness or phonological awareness. The real step that builds a complex skill of reading is phonics for reading, connecting letters to sounds. Focus on that and give every person the foundation they need to thrive. If you found this discussion helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And as always, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep exploring the fascinating world of education. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.